Well, good morning, my trucking community, my students, my followers, and of course, everybody who is been dealing with trucking. Trucking is very challenging industry, and of course, we need to have a knowledge if we decide to become a dispatcher. And that's why we have been supporting the trucking community for the last few years with our training programs. And most of you have been following us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and we are so thankful for all you do, guys, and for all my students who are choosing my trainings because they understand that knowledge is the key to success. We're going to be doing some updates on what's going on with thread lines. What do you think is going to happen in the near future? And why are we adding extra special webinars for our previous students and people who have been dispatching? Well, I'll be with you back in just 30 seconds, and we're going to see how did we finish the June of 2024 in trucking. Well, are you staying in the trucking? Are you quitting the trucking? Or maybe it's time to improve your skills and learn how to manage your company. Well, and we always going back to our affiliated sponsors. And of course, we are proud to work with the DAT1. DAT1 have been number one load board for a few decades, and they're improving, and their data analytics are helping you to survive in this industry. As a pro dispatcher, as the owner of the trucking company, you have to be really familiar with their tools. So when I'm talking about tools, I am talking about this extra data analytics which I included with your pro subscription. One more time, if you are just new into the trucking and you open company and you would like to save some money, you can use the code and you will save 10% for the first 12 months and approximately, I don't know, it's 100 start camera. Wow. Settings. We just disappeared there for a second. I don't know why. I guess today I was rearranging my office and hopefully you guys can hear me. Can somebody verify if I am still streaming on all the platforms? Sorry again. Probably need to reconnect some wires. We'll fix it. We'll fix it after the stream. Um, so you are good. Thank you so much for answering, Chase. And actually, I will answer your question right away. Is there a way to get load board access through the DAT with just my dispatch company, or do I need an authority to have an access? So let's actually answer this one more time. Because of the scams, because of extra fraud prevention, DAT changed the rules. If you are dispatch service, an independent dispatch service, if you are an independent dispatcher, the only way you're going to be granted the DAT load board access if you have a real carrier. So if your carrier has an active MC, pay attention, active MC, that means that they have insurance on file, that means that they've been approved, and if the DAT will contact them and they will reconfirm, for example, then Chase is my independent dispatcher, well, they can give you access. But it's getting harder and harder. Why? Because let's be honest, guys. you get an access and you start playing those games, right? Double brokering, you give access to a bunch of other people. So they see that when you log in, it's different countries, different, by your where you located, but your location of your internet. So that's why after a while they shut it down anyway. Well, can you still work as an independent dispatcher? Yes, your carrier should have not have any problem to actually get the load board and give you an access. Do I agree with this? Well, it's very hard for me even to teach the class nowadays because most of my dispatchers, they decide to become an independent dispatcher, and before you actually secure the first carrier, you want to get really comfortable with the load board. Yes, it is challenging, but they are doing a great job on actually trainings, and we do it in a class as well, how to use load boards, how to use certain tools. So it's gonna take you 2 days, 3 days to become a pro. It's not something that you have to study for months and months and months. So unfortunately, yes, as an independent dispatcher, you have to have a real carrier. There's no way around. So I've been receiving lots of messages on Instagram, on my YouTube, through my website. Alex, please help me out. I am a good kid sitting somewhere in Somalia. I really need the access. Well, if you know what you're doing and you have a real carrier, then your carrier can get you access to the load board. Everybody knows Truck Stop took that option a few years ago. Again, due to what? Due to the scams, due to the people actually misrepresenting dispatchers as well, right? Because when independent dispatcher had an access, they actually start acting like they're trucking gurus, right? They start giving advices. Well, go direct. I can find you direct shippers. I can find you direct freight. Cut brokers out. But this is an illegal activity. Why is it illegal? Because as a dispatcher, if you do not have brokerage authority, well, you misrepresenting your duties. One more time, let's go back to duties of dispatchers. Dispatchers is in the middle between carrier and broker. Who do we represent? Well, if you're an independent dispatcher, you work for the carrier on their behalf, using their information with their permission. That's why most of you know that we need to kind of protect this relationship with maybe limited power of attorney. If I'm a carrier and I would like, for example, Chase to be my dispatcher, I want to make sure that he is not misusing the information about my company, that he is not actually going and posting my trucks and trying to book the loads for somebody else. So a lot of things have been changing in the industry in the last few years. And I am personally agree with the DAT, with Truck Stop, with any other brokers who have extra security nowadays with the fraud prevention. Sometimes it's not easy for us to maneuver with extra checks, with extra codes which are sent for even when you getting set up with a broker, right? Well, codes are sent to the carrier, to their email, to their phone to verify. Is that really you who is booking this load? Yes. And if you actually really working for this carrier, you have no problem verifying with with a code sent to your email, with a code sent to a main number from the safer. So uh hopefully we're gonna get rid of the bad apples. But let's go back to today topic. Let's see what's going on with market, and let's watch some tools. So when we are talking about trend lines, and everybody who is in trucking, you guys see weekly trend lines, what's going on today with the dry van, what's going on with the reefer, what's going on with the flatbed. People are asking, well, how do they generate this data? Well, they do have agreement with probably believe that Mike said that they have like around 330 carriers, they have 330 brokers, and they have 330 shippers, which are giving the freight bills. So, for example, if I am a shipper, if I am a customer, I am providing for the DAT, that's what I paid as a rate, contracted rate to the broker. Brokers and supplying the information. Well, we got this load for $1,000, but we sold it to the carrier for $800. And then they have carriers who also verifying, well, we had this many loads booked for this price. Is this data 100% accurate? Well, I can tell you this. Unfortunately, that's not enough data to really show the reality. Plus, you have to remember that data does not include your deadhead. The data is the averages out. So what do? They cut the lowest 25% of the numbers and the highest 25%, and they keep the middle. Does it really help you as a dispatcher? Well, especially in the beginning stages, it does help you to at least see what's going on in general. So let's see. Let's look, how did we finish June of 2024? Because everybody was hoping for what? Well, 4th of July, Independence Day, the rate's gonna go crazy. Did they really go crazy? Well, in certain area. Due to what? Some reefer rates were higher because we all were buying cherries, we were buying corn, we were buying extra meat because we all were barbecuing. But how many drivers who got those little better paying loads, for example, for East Coast, actually drove back empty? Be honest with me. How many drivers who live on Midwest, let's say Chicago area, Indianapolis, Minneapolis, when you deliver that load on Wednesday, day before holiday, did you get the load back? Or you were staying there, kind of spending your holiday on East Coast, or some of you decided to drive back empty with no loads because there was no loads. The loads were disappearing before they even were posted, and the rates were ridiculous. So that's why when I look at some data, well, that data is not really 100% accurate. It's not even 80% accurate. That's why you cannot use only one tool. You have to look at the trend lines, market conditions, then you have to post your truck exactly for this type of equipment and see what's going on there today, tomorrow, in 2 days. Then look what was going on there for 8 days. Do I like to go for 2 weeks, 1 month? No, it does not really make sense because things are changing and it's not going to help me. Maybe because it averages the data. Well, it was a spot market on East Coast before the holiday. Now those numbers are a little bit higher. But are they really higher today on Monday after holiday? No. That's why, as a dispatcher, your analytical thinking has to be able to put together all these little puzzles so you kind of have a real picture. But without making phone calls, without actually asking how much they pay, not one phone calls, not two, not three, but probably 5, 6, 7, you will see the reality. But let's look at this. I'm going to put myself somewhere here so you can see the better picture. And they are breaking data again on what? On 3 types of equipment: dry van, flatbed, and reefer. And look at this. Well, in May, we kind of actually close at 202. We were all waiting for June to maybe shape up a little bit. It's summer. We really need extra 10, 15 cents per mile. Did it happen? Well, not really. We closed at 206 as an average. Again, loaded miles. They are not including empty miles. So this 206 in the reality for most of you is $1.92, $1.90. It depends where you located. It depends if you stay in with the shorter miles. If you go cross country, well, that 206 is going to be $1.86. And what is the operational cost for your company? Well, hopefully you guys know what does it cost for you to at least break at zero. Most of you are at minus at this point. You guys trying to survive. Let's look at our flatbed. Well, our flatbeds actually went even down a little bit, and usually flatbed step decks in the summer, June, July, August, this is their prime months, right? Because of the construction, because of the every state is fixing the routes and everything else. But look at this, flatbeds are staying the same. They even lost 1 cent per mile. And when you really think, wow, 1 cent should not really change much. But when you have 100 trucks and that 1 cent minus the reality of empty miles, you getting stuck on East Coast or maybe taking heavy loads with the tolls, well, you're talking about difference in 10 cents. When you have 50, 60 trucks, 100 trucks, even if you have 3 trucks, that 10 cents actually killing your profits. That's why most of the people who are dealing with trucking nowadays, their heads are spinning. How can we survive? Where can we cut our expenses? What do we have to do? And it doesn't matter how many years you have been dispatching. Well, there's not enough loads and the rates are ridiculously low. And even I'm calling. Do you think that broker is gonna give me extra? Maybe personal relationship, at least he's gonna grant me that load for $900 coming from East Coast. Most of you, by the time you call, load is gone. Who should we blame? Should we just say that the broker's taking advantage of this market? Should we blame economy? Should we blame Biden or Trump? Or should we blame the independent dispatchers who killed the economy? Should we blame all the people who came into trucking without knowledge when the rates were higher? Well, there's a lot and a lot of things to kind of put this puzzle together. Probably whoever I just named had a little impact on all of this. But in the reality, it's simply supply and demand. And this is a curve which happens all the time. But nowadays it's a little bit unusual curve because unfortunately most of you are not prepared for insurance increases, which went up approximately 37% if you compare it to 2-3 years ago. You're not ready for the tolls, which went up. You actually not ready. Yes, equipment is cheaper to buy now because of the market, but most of you bought those trucks for 200,000, 220. You guys paid for those reefers 100 grand, for dry vans 70, 75. Unfortunately, your payments are still the same. What else went up? Well, the diesel is never really went down, correct? So we have too many negative impacts, but the rates went down drastically. And unfortunately, they are not going to change soon. We are all hoping for election and hopefully things gonna start shifting, but we are in a long recovery. So that's why as a dispatcher, you need to start understanding what can you do to improve movement of your trucks. Maybe improving your negotiations, maybe start using extra data, maybe understanding the seasonal changes, understanding the overcapacity in certain areas, spot market. What does it mean per book? What is there you can do to make sure that your trucks are still moving? But remember, trucks have to be moving to make sure that you still kind of covering your bills. Just to book the load it doesn't mean that you are the best dispatcher. To still work in this industry, you need to know your operational cost. You need to talk to your owner. You need to talk to the boss of your company and make a decision. Maybe we're not going to East Coast because the price of coming back is ridiculously low. Tolls went up. So maybe you guys cut into the shorter routes. Maybe you are reviewing how much you are paying your driver. Let's be realistic. I still see advertisements, especially I am in Chicagoland. Well, we still pay 70 cents, 75 cents. How? How can you do that? I'm really curious. And then I see the post from the drivers in all the groups. Well, I work for the company and they stop paying me. Of course, they're going to stop paying you because they simply cannot afford to pay you 75, 70 cents. So, do you want to go to the company which is a realistic company? And I can tell you nowadays, 60 cents, maybe 62 cents, in depends on equipment you're working with, is more than realistic. And unfortunately, you have to watch for those red signs. If the company start making excuses, if the company is not fixing your equipment, that means they're going to struggle. So don't sit there for 3 weeks, 1 month, and then start asking what I'm going to do with them. How can I take them to courts? Well, guys, yes, you can take them to courts. You can start making the claims with the Bureau of Labor and everything. It takes months and months and months. Be realistic. Do you really think anybody can still pay you 70, 75 cents? And you still demanding them to fake ELD and give you 4,000-5,000 miles per week. Well, in reality, maybe 1 week they will pay you, second week they will pay you, and they're gonna start making up the stories. Oh, unfortunately, broker did not pay. Oh, unfortunately, we are still waiting for the payment. So in the end of the day, you actually gonna receive less money. So if I would be a driver nowadays, especially the newer drivers who came through, for example, we have a lot of Ukrainians who came to this country during the war and because of the war. And a lot of them, they just like demanding, I want 75 cents. Some of them don't even have experience. And of course, they want to make that money and they want to drive illegally 4,000, 5,000 miles because, wow, that's a great money. Multiply that by 75 cents. But the reality is, I don't even think any company can afford that. Even when you talk about mega companies, as a GB Han, Schneider, Prime, any mega carriers, nobody can afford that payment to the drivers nowadays. With insurance cost, with the maintenance, with the cost of equipment, everything went up. Diesel's still there. So that's why the reality is harsh. Dispatchers. Let's talk about dispatchers. I still see trucking gurus who are saying, well, independent dispatcher should still charge 10, 15% from dispatching trucks. How? How are they going to be able to pay 10% for you dispatching them? I don't think so, because if they are opening brand new companies first, nowadays, most of you need to have extra money to survive that first 6 months, because most of the brokers are not even going to give you the loads because you're not 6 months in the business, because you do not have inspection on the safer. And we're not talking about inspection for your truck and trailer, which we all do to stay compliant with FMCSA. We're talking about random inspection on the road, and a lot of times it takes you months and months because, well, or you have to be a really bad driver and you're going to get stopped for speeding or cutting somebody, changing the lane improperly. But in that case, well, you got that inspection, but now your safety, you're 100% not compliant. So this is a tricky situation there. Then you're also going to be dealing with what? They're going to see that you only have one truck. You're not even in a system. You call them, they answer the phone, and you giving them MC. Even if they can set you up, most of the brokers, they not gonna waste their time because they have 20 people on hold who already been doing their loads. And this is the reality of being a new dispatcher with a new authority. Is there easy way to do this? No, it takes time. You're going to spend more time, you're going to spend more phone calls, and the person who just opened the trucking company has to really calculate, will I be able to survive? And the only way you might be able to survive if you still going to be at least driving that your own truck. Maybe your wife or girlfriend still dispatching you, so you cutting on that cost. Hopefully, you prepared and you know safety and compliance. You can prepare for that new entrant audit. Otherwise, don't even come to trucking. Don't waste the money. Just go somewhere else because you will be disappointed. And that's what happened a few years ago, right? When we had everybody jumping in to trucking. But what was different 2 years ago? Supply and demand. We had so much freight, which we were all buying. Why we were buying? Well, due to the COVID pandemic, we were all afraid that this is going to happen again. So we were buying extra things. So we were bringing more stuff from China, other countries, right? Big distribution centers were buying more stuff so they can sell. And they were afraid not to have enough supply. So actually, they were ordering more. And then what happened? Well, we got enough stuff. And now I can tell you personally, me, some items as a detergent, paper towels, toilet paper, some things which we are using daily. Well, I have supply personally in my garage probably for 2-3 years, same as probably 70% of you. That means that I am not shopping for those items. If I am not shopping for those items, if you're not shopping for those items, well, we do not have demand. When we do not have demand, that means less freight is coming in the country, less freight is moving around. And then, what a bummer, inflation went up, but salaries did not go up as much. So we lost the power of buying. Although in America, we all opening credit cards, we all still buying things even when we cannot afford it. But remember, those credit cards, they fill out really fast, and then they are not giving you another credit card, and they are not approving you for moving your balances. So that's why probably 40-50% of average American, we went down. We cannot afford to buy as much. Again, supply and demand. Overcapacity of what? Overcapacity of trucks. Overcapacity of equipment due to what? The previous 2 years before. So we had too many people coming into the trucking because they were hearing all this money making numbers, and everybody wanted to become the millionaire overnight. You know how many dispatchers thought that when they're gonna sign up for my class or any trucking guru class, that they're gonna buy Bentley within 1 month? Wow, hundreds of them. Guys, I don't care 2 years ago, today, in 2 years from now, 10 years from now, if you're going to be a dispatcher, dispatching one or two or three trucks, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be able to buy a Bentley. If you're going to start doing this job correctly, well, you will be able to make from 2 to 3,000 a week from comfort of your home. If you decide to add extra services, as for example, safety, compliance, IFTA, well, you can generate extra income. If you're going to learn this industry and you're going to help some companies build and grow their company, or if you decide to add maybe brokerage authority to this, well, of course, one day you're going to be driving that Bentley, but not with dispatching one truck. But let's go back to our reefers. So in July, reefers showing that they are up, but June we still only had 2 cents difference. Wow, we do have predicament at least for our avocado season, right? Actually, finally, we have prediction that our own avocados in California are doing well, and we're going to have 20% more of crops than previous 2 years. Why did I just mention avocados, for example? Why did I do that? I did that because we just added our new trainings, and we're gonna be concentrating on different type of equipment, and we guys gonna do this in a live mode. So let's see. Actually, tomorrow we have our first webinar, which is going to be live, and tomorrow we are concentrating only on dry vans. So we only have 10 students, so this is a limit, and we're gonna be going over certain data. So what are we gonna be covering in this intense class? It's live, it's not pre-recorded. We start at 10 a.m. and we're gonna go strong till 2:30. Well, first, we're gonna make sure that if you are dispatching drive-in, you know all the little things that you need to know about different type of drive-ins, right? What is there to watch out for? Shippers, receiver, commodities. What should you stay away from, right? What is the areas which you should never go with drive-in? And what does it mean spot market for drive-in? Does it make a difference if it palletized, floor loaded? Is it really good idea to drop and hook? Is it okay to leave your trailer for few days at shipper or receiver? Brokers who really work with the dry goods, dry freight, and brokers who don't really have much of dry goods. We're gonna actually log into different load boards. Besides DAT, we're gonna go to Coyote, we're gonna go to RXO, TQL, and we're gonna analyze. Of course, we're gonna make phone calls. So if you are a student from my previous class, you know how it goes, and I will be pushing you to make sure that you actually validating the information, that you use the tools from our load boards, and you tell me, well, that's what's gonna happen. If I take this load today, let's say from Chicago, and I'm gonna take him to Memphis with delivery tomorrow. First, I want to make sure that the knowledge of hours of service is there. So we're gonna concentrate on that all the time. We're gonna calculate how many hours are gonna be left there tomorrow for exactly this driver. I want you to validate. That's why this class, I cannot sign up 20, 30 people because it's really individual. If you are a person who has their own MC, we're gonna look at what are you doing with your trucks? What mistakes are you doing? Maybe you're not pre-booking. Maybe you need to shift them from certain area. And also we're going to put the seasonal knowledge into this. So that's why tomorrow we have the drive-in. But if you look at our schedule, you can see that we also have our reefers. So if you guys want to sign up for only reefers, we're going to have it here on July 24th, right here. So the reefer is going to be on July 21st. And reefers are really, really different. There's so many little things that you have to remember as a dispatcher that should prevent your rejections, your claims, and also making sure that you understand seasonal changes. If you are a dispatcher who still does not know where we bring stuff from, when you don't really know the seasonal produce in the USA, outside of the USA, if you don't really know the difference between the temperatures, commodity exclusions, well, maybe you should go back at least to dry freight, right? It's easier. There you watch only for how heavy the load, floor loaded, palletized, but reefers are different. And if you've been dispatching for a few years, but you still make mistakes, maybe this is a webinar that you should sign up for. And of course, then we're going to have our flatbed, and it's going to be in August. For all the previous students, and flatbed is going to be August 14th. For all the previous students, remember, you can also get the discount $50 off per webinar. Webinar is only $150 for 4.5 hours of the live intense training. But if you ever took any of our classes, please email us and we'll send you invoice and you can save $50 off. If you are still looking to improve your safety and compliance, please make sure you sign up for upcoming trainings. IFTA is coming up on July 21st, and you can use the code July100 to save $100. So actually, it's going to be only $299. Our trucking, safety, and compliance training plus IFTA is also starting on July 21st. And again, we are giving everybody ability to save $100 because we are knowing that market is not doing great. A lot of you dealing with harsh inflation, and actually it's summertime. We do spend more money in the summer because we take kids for vacations, we do outdoor activities. Well, summer is always extra money to spend for any family. So if you guys are signing up for any trainings, make sure that you remember classes are live. So if you look at the schedule, that's exactly when they were happening. So you need to make sure that you know how to use Zoom. You have quiet settings. Do not take my trainings if you're hoping that you're going to do this on your phone or the tablet. No, no, and no. Do not waste my energy and do not waste your money. You have to have at least a desktop. You have to have a laptop. You cannot be sitting somewhere in a car. If you are in a truck, you cannot be driving. You need to have good internet because we cover a lot. And if you go and you read reviews from our previous students, if you go to my YouTube, you're going to see, well, we are not just sitting there showing you the PDFs. We're not just like teaching you like in kindergarten, oh, this is a truck, this is a trailer, this is what you're going to do. No, we're actually going and we covering everything what's going on in trucking exactly today, right? So we're going to be teaching you all of these tools, how to put the data together, and extra knowledge. So make sure that you understand this. A lot of people who signing up for the classes and English is not a first language like mine, right? You guys can hear that I do have accent. I was born and raised in Ukraine, but at least I can communicate, I can write, I can make my phone call. So if you are not sure that you can comprehend even listening to my videos, if you still improving your English, maybe sign up for the later class, because unfortunately I cannot stop 20, 30, 10 students and start explaining to you certain things in Russian or Ukrainian or Bulgarian, right? We have the flow. So hopefully you understand this. And another thing is lots of people reaching out from outside of the countries. I'm not going to mention the countries. It doesn't matter. We have people from different countries and they are all asking, oh, Alex, can you give me the free education because I cannot afford it? And you know what? I try to do that for a long time. I did it probably for 2 years. And unfortunately, my data shows that those people are not really prepared to work as hard as they should. I give free classes and people don't even finish their homeworks. They are not really into it. So unfortunately, I made my decision that the free classes are going to be offered only for people who live in the USA, people who will prove to me that they are really willing to study. So just writing me a heartbroken letter that you cannot afford it, it's not going to work anymore. I really want to see, and probably I'm going to do the phone interview before I give any free class, because I'm giving my energy, I'm giving you an opportunity, and it's kind of sad to see that people don't even finish the class, people don't even put the review, people don't even uh, appreciate you after you give the class. So I'm kind of done with that. I give enough free education on YouTube, so if you want to learn for free, go ahead and do so. For everybody, when I will be awarding the free classes for August, there will be extra steps you need to do. I'm okay with helping people out. I am okay with changing your life, hopefully for better. But unfortunately, I also want to see that you are ready for that reward, that you are actually willing to put all the effort. Well, we are done for today because tomorrow, again, we have the training for dry vans. It's not too late to sign up. Make sure you go on our website. Most of you already know this is the Dispatch Training Center, right? LearnDispatchToday.com. Here's all the trainings. If you my previous student, please email me and we still gonna send you invoice, and hopefully we're gonna be changing industry one person at the time. People were asking me, Alex, what happened and why did you stop streaming? Well, guys, it's not because I quit rocking. No, we am still in rocking. I'm very active, but I was lucky and blessed to become a grandma. So I've been spending the last 3 weeks with our newborn baby, and I am enjoying those precious moments. But it's time for me to go back to the routine. So you're gonna see more of me. We're gonna do live streams, we're gonna do TikTok videos, and we are adding extra trainings. I love you guys, and always a pleasure to see you, to see familiar faces, and thank you for all the reviews from previous students. And again, if you did not have a chance, maybe it's time for you to share your honest opinion on what did you learn, what can we improve, and what maybe you are struggling with right now in the industry. I'll see you soon. Actually, some of you, I'll see tomorrow.